The champagne bubbles in my stomach have turned to acid. I'm standing here in a $20,000 dress, staring at an empty church, while my sister is probably somewhere over the Atlantic with my fiancé. 342 guests are whispering behind me. I know the exact count because I agonized over that seating chart for weeks. Now they're all watching me crumble in real time, their pity thick enough to choke on. Riley. My best friend Zoe appears at my elbow, gripping my arm. We need to get you out of here. I can't move. The altar flowers I obsessed over, white peonies and blush roses, are starting to wilt in the June heat, just like my dignity. He's not coming, I whisper, more to myself than to her. The words taste like metal in my mouth. They're really not coming. My phone buzzes again. Probably another concerned text from a guest wondering where the groom is. Or worse, someone sending me the Instagram post. I saw it 20 minutes ago, right before I was supposed to walk down the aisle. My sister Aliyah, wrapped around Colin on a first-class flight, her caption dripping with false regret. Sometimes love doesn't care about timing. Sorry, not sorry. The memory hits me like a physical blow, and suddenly I'm grateful for Zoe's grip on my arm. My knees feel liquid. I need... The words catch in my throat. What do I need? My sister back? My fiancé to choose me? The last 6 months of my life to be something other than an elaborate lie? You need to hold it together for 5 more minutes. Zoe whispers fiercely. Just until we get you somewhere private. Don't let them see you break. She's right. I force my spine straight, channeling every society event my mother dragged me to. Smile pleasant, eyes empty, like I'm at another charity gala pretending to care about endangered butterflies. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice carries across the hushed church, steady despite the earthquake in my chest. I regret to inform you that today's ceremony is canceled. Please enjoy the reception without us. The food and wine are already paid for. A few nervous laughs, more whispers. Someone starts to applaud, then thinks better of it. Zoe steers me toward the side door, my train gathering dust from the ancient church floor. We're almost there when my phone rings. Not a text this time. The screen shows my mother's face. Don't answer it, Zoe warns. I click accept anyway. Mom? Riley, darling. Her voice is careful, practiced. I've just heard from Aliyah. Of course she has. Of course my sister called our mother before my wedding day imploded. And? She says she and Colin have been seeing each other since Christmas. She claims they tried to fight it, but... Christmas. 6 months ago. When Aliyah helped me pick out my wedding dress, the memory of that day crashes over me. Her tears as I stepped out in the winning gown, how she hugged me and said I was the most beautiful bride she'd ever seen, all while she was sleeping with my fiancé. Riley? My mother's voice seems to come from very far away. There's something else. Several people knew. They thought it would be kinder to let you find out after... The phone slips from my numb fingers. Zoe catches it, ends the call. How many? I ask her. How many people knew? She won't meet my eyes. That's answer enough. We reach the bridal suite, the room where I spent this morning getting ready, letting my sister do my makeup because she insisted. Had she been texting him then? Planning their escape while painting my face? I catch my reflection in the full-length mirror. I look like a stranger, some fairy tale princess who took a wrong turn into reality. My sister's artistry is still perfect on my face. The thought makes me want to claw my skin off. I need to get out of this dress, I say. Zoe starts working on the buttons. We'll go to my place, open some wine, figure out next steps. Next steps? A laugh bubbles up, ugly and raw. What's the protocol when your sister and fiancé become international fugitives of love? First step is surviving today. Zoe's voice is firm. Second step is making them regret ever thinking they could do this to you. The dress pools at my feet like shed skin. In my slip, I feel smaller but somehow stronger. The acid in my stomach has hardened into something else. Something sharp and cold and purposeful. My phone buzzes again. This time it's an email from an unknown address. The subject line makes my heart stop. Re, your sister's long game. You deserve to know the truth. I look at Zoe, whose face has gone pale, reading over my shoulder. Maybe surviving today isn't enough, I say quietly. Maybe we need to think bigger. The email sits unopened in my inbox, a digital grenade waiting to detonate. I've been staring at it for hours in Zoe's guest room, surrounded by the ruins of what should have been my wedding night. My phone keeps lighting up with notifications. I've muted everything except texts from Zoe, who's in the kitchen stress-baking something that smells like cinnamon. The rest of the world can wait. The mystery sender's address is just numbers and letters. Probably a burner account. Smart. The subject line pulses like a warning. Your sister's long game. You deserve to know the truth. I click. Riley, I worked with Aaliyah at Maxwell Corp last year. What happened today wasn't spontaneous. She's been planning this since before Colin proposed. I have proof. If you want to know more, meet me at Cafe Luna tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. Z. My hands shake as I read it again. And again. The words blur together, but one phrase keeps cutting through. Before Colin proposed. A sound escapes me. Something between a laugh and a sob. Zoe appears in the doorway, holding a plate of snickerdoodles. What is it? She asks, then sees my face. Oh God, what now? I turn the phone toward her. She reads quickly, lips pressing into a thin line. It could be fake, she says carefully. Someone trying to make things worse. How could things possibly be worse? I stand up, needing to move. The borrowed t-shirt and shorts from Zoe feel wrong on my skin, like I'm playing dress-up in someone else's life. My sister and fiancé are probably in Paris by now, drinking champagne and laughing about how they fooled everyone. What could be worse than that? Finding out it was premeditated? Zoe sets down the cookies. Riley, think about what this means. If it's true, my sister watched me plan an entire wedding knowing she was going to destroy it. The words taste like poison. She helped pick centerpieces and sample cakes and arrange seating charts, all while... My voice cracks. Zoe reaches for me, but I step back. I need air. Outside, the summer night is thick with humidity. I walk aimlessly through Zoe's neighborhood, past houses where normal people are living normal lives. A couple argues about taking out trash. Kids chase fireflies. A dog barks at nothing. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Aaliyah says she'll call tomorrow to explain everything. Please be open to hearing her side. Her side? Like there could be any explanation that would make this okay? I'm about to throw my phone into someone's rosebush when another text comes through. Unknown number. Riley, it's Zuriel from the wedding. I know we've never really talked, but I saw what happened today. I have some information you might want. Call me if you want to discuss. Zuriel, Colin's boss at the investment firm. I met her exactly twice. Once at the company Christmas party, and again when she RSVP'd to the wedding. Both times she seemed watchful, like she knew something I didn't. Before I can overthink it, I hit call. Riley. Her voice is crisp, professional. I wasn't sure you'd reach out. You said you have information. I do, but first, have you checked your joint accounts with Colin? My stomach drops. No, Do it now. I'll wait. Hands trembling, I open my banking app. The joint account we opened for wedding expenses shows a balance of $47.13. Last week, it held over $50,000. He cleaned it out. I whisper. Yesterday morning. Zuriel confirms. He also accessed several sensitive client files before leaving. Files he shouldn't have had access to in the first place. The implications hit me slowly, then all at once. Are you saying... I'm saying your fiancé didn't just leave you at the altar. He committed corporate espionage. And your sister, as our former marketing director, helped him do it. The world tilts sideways. I grab a nearby fence for support. Why are you telling me this? Because I believe in karma. Zuriel's voice hardens. And because I've been where you are. Different circumstances, same betrayal. I rebuilt myself. You can too. How? Meet me for lunch tomorrow. We'll discuss strategy. I think of the mystery email about meeting at Cafe Luna. Two separate people reaching out with information. This can't be coincidence. I need to think about it, I say. Don't think too long. The window for action is small and your sister's long game isn't finished yet. The call ends. I stand there in the dark, my mind racing. Zuriel's words echo in my head. The window for action is small. My phone buzzes one final time. Zoe. Found something in your wedding dress pocket. Get back here now. I start running. I'm sitting in Cafe Luna at 1:55 p.m., ignoring Zoe's texts, begging me not to do this alone. The note she found in my wedding dress pocket burns in my bag. A handwritten confession from Colin about choosing happiness with my sister. As if happiness was a limited resource he had to steal from me. My meeting with Zuriel isn't until 4. First, I need to know what Z from the email has to say. The cafe is half empty, sunlight streaming through industrial windows. I chose a corner table with clear sightlines to both exits. Paranoid? Maybe, but I'm done being blindsided. At exactly 2, a woman in a charcoal pantsuit approaches. Riley? I nod, studying her face for any hint of recognition. Nothing. I'm Zara. She sits, placing a manila envelope between us. I handled accounts at Maxwell Corp while your sister was there. What's in the envelope? Emails, meeting recordings, proof that Aaliyah orchestrated this whole thing. She taps the envelope, including how she manipulated her way into Colin's department despite being underqualified. My throat tightens. Why are you showing me this? Because your sister didn't just betray you. She used company resources to do it. Expense accounts, client information, all to get closer to Colin. Zara leans forward. She's smart, calculated. Everything was documented because she never thought anyone would look. But you did. I noticed discrepancies, started keeping records. Then yesterday. She gestures vaguely. Well, I open the envelope with shaking hands. The first email is dated 8 months ago. Aaliyah requesting a transfer to Colin's department. The next shows her expense reports, business lunches, late-night strategy sessions. All with him. There's more, Zara says quietly. But you should know, she's planning something bigger. The wedding was just phase 1. Ice spreads through my chest. What do you mean? Your sister didn't just want Colin. She wanted his client list, his connections. They're planning to start their own firm using stolen information. The cafe suddenly feels too small, too exposed. Why tell me this? Why not go to the police? Because corporate theft is hard to prove. But personal betrayal? Zara's eyes gleam. That's where you come in. You have access to things I don't. Family accounts, shared history. Things that could stop them before the cafe door chimes. Zara goes rigid, staring past me. We need to go, now. What? Nora's here. At my blank look, she adds, your sister's former boss. If she sees us together? Understanding hits like a slap. Of course Aaliyah would have allies watching me. Of course this wasn't going to be simple. We slip out the back exit, emerging into an alley. Zara hands me a business card. Call this number when you're ready to move forward. But be careful who you trust. Your sister has eyes everywhere. She disappears around the corner, leaving me clutching the envelope and card. My phone shows 3 missed calls from Zoe and a text from Zuriel. Meeting location changed. Come to Maxwell Corp instead. 4 p.m. Maxwell Corp, where Aaliyah worked. Where this all started. I flag down a cab, mind racing. The envelope feels heavy with possibilities and dangers. I think of Colin's note. Choosing happiness. Was that part of the script too? Every memory feels tainted now. Suspect. The cab driver clears his throat. Miss, we're here. Maxwell Corp towers above me, all glass and steel. As I approach the entrance, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Walking into a trap, sis. But then, you always did trust too easily. My hands go cold. But before I can retreat, Zuriel appears in the lobby. Riley, right on time. She studies my face. You look like you've seen a ghost. I show her the text. Her expression hardens. Come up to my office. There's something you need to see. The elevator ride is silent. Zuriel's office occupies a corner of the 47th floor with views that would normally take my breath away. Today, I barely notice. Before we start, Zuriel says, closing her door, I should tell you, I know about your meeting with Zara. My pulse spikes. How? Because I sent her. She holds up a hand as I start to speak. Everything she told you is true, but it's not the whole truth. She turns her computer monitor toward me. On screen is an email chain between Aaliyah and Colin, dated 3 days ago. Your sister didn't just steal corporate secrets, Zuriel says quietly. She stole something much more valuable, something that could destroy this company, and everyone connected to it. The subject line makes my blood run cold. Project Phoenix, final phase ready. Project Phoenix isn't just corporate espionage, it's a complete takeover plan. I stare at the emails. My sister's calculated betrayal laid bare in bullet points and action items. She wasn't just stealing clients. She was systematically dismantling Zuriel's company from the inside. Why show me this? I ask, finally looking up from the screen. Zuriel's lips curve. Because you're the key to stopping them. They've planned for every contingency except you, the jilted bride who's supposed to be too devastated to function. I am devastated. The words come out sharper than intended. Good. Channel that. She slides a folder across her desk. Your sister's not the only one who can play the long game. Inside are incorporation papers for a new company. At the top, Phoenix Rising Investments. You want me to start a competing firm? I almost laugh. I'm a graphic designer, not a financial expert. You're also the only person who knows how Aaliyah thinks, how she operates. Zuriel leans forward. I'll provide the expertise and backing. You provide the insight we need to beat her at her own game. My phone buzzes. Zoe again. I silence it, guilt twisting in my stomach. She's been trying to reach me all day. I need time to think. I tell Zuriel. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, your sister's plan goes into motion. She stands. Don't let her underestimate you again, Riley. Outside, the summer evening has turned stormy. I duck into a coffee shop just as rain starts hammering the sidewalk. The barista takes one look at my face and adds an extra shot to my latte without charging. Rough day? I turn to find a man in a well-cut suit watching me with concern. Something about his eyes seems familiar. Talon, he says, extending his hand. I was at your event yesterday. Friend of Colin's from business school. My chest tightens. If you're here to defend him. God, no. He looks genuinely appalled. I came to apologize. I knew something was off with him lately, but I never imagined. He trails off. Anyway, I quit the firm this morning. Couldn't stomach working there after what they did. Lightning flashes outside, illuminating his face. He's handsome in a quiet way. Nothing like Colin's practiced charm. Why are you really here? I ask. Because I have information that might help you, but... He glances around the coffee shop. Not here. Of course. Another mysterious meeting. Another person with secrets to share. But something about Talon feels different. More genuine than Zara's rehearsed revelations. There's a restaurant around the corner, he suggests. More private. I should say no. Should call Zoe back. Process everything I've learned today. Instead, I hear myself say, lead the way. The restaurant is dimly lit, mostly empty. Talon orders wine and waits until the server leaves before speaking. Colin came to me last week, trying to recruit me for some new venture. Wouldn't give details, but he was excited. Manic almost. Talon swirls his wine. Then I overheard him on the phone with Aaliyah, discussing something called Phoenix. What exactly did you hear? Enough to know they're not just stealing clients, they're stealing identities, using personal information from high net worth accounts to. He lowers his voice. Well, it's not legal or ethical. My hand shakes as I reach for my glass. That's why they needed the wedding, to access my family's accounts. Your father's investment portfolio alone? Talon grimaces. Let's just say it would fund quite a startup. The wine turns sour in my mouth. I think of my father's pride when Colin joined his firm, how he treated him like a son. Another relationship Aaliyah poisoned. Why tell me this? Because what they're doing is wrong. And because. Talon meets my eyes. I've seen how Colin operates. He'll destroy anyone who threatens his plans, including you. My phone lights up with a text from Zuriel. Decision time. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring your answer. Thunder crashes outside. Talon watches me read the message, something like understanding crossing his face. Whatever you're planning, he says quietly. Be careful. Your sister isn't working alone. There are bigger players involved. Like who? He opens his mouth to answer just as my phone rings. Zoe's number. This time I answer. Her voice is breathless, panicked. Riley, where are you? Someone broke into my apartment. They took your wedding dress, all the cards, everything from yesterday. And they left a message. What message? On your dress, in red ink. She pauses. It says, back off while you still can, little sister. I meet Talon's concerned gaze across the table. I'll be right there. Hanging up, I make my decision. Tomorrow morning, I tell him, I'm going to war with my sister. Are you in or out? His answer changes everything. I'm in, Talon had said. But there's something you need to know first. Those words echo in my head as I stand in Zuriel's office at 8:57 a.m., watching her review my counter-proposal. Outside, the city sparkles like nothing has changed. Like my world hasn't shifted on its axis 3 times in the past 12 hours. This is ambitious. Zuriel says finally, looking up from the papers. It has to be. My voice is steady despite my racing heart. Aaliyah won't expect me to move this fast or think this big. Speaking of unexpected moves, she taps her screen. Care to explain why Talon quit his position last night only to apply here this morning? I meet her gaze. Because he knows things about Project Phoenix that could help us. And because he's the only person from Colin's inner circle who had the decency to warn me. Warn you about what? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. The image makes my blood freeze. My wedding dress spread across Zoe's apartment floor. That threatening message now joined by photographs. Dozens of them, scattered like fallen leaves. Photos of me and Colin, me and Aaliyah, all defaced with red ink. Riley? Zuriel's voice seems distant. They broke in again. My fingers tremble as I show her. They're watching us. All of us. Good. At my startled look, she continues. It means they're scared. You're already disrupting their timeline. Or they're trying to scare me off before. I stop, remembering Talon's revelation from last night. Before what? The office door opens before I can respond. Nora strides in, impeccable in a steel gray suit. Sorry I'm late, she says, not sounding sorry at all. Traffic was murder. My pulse spikes. Nora, Aaliyah's former boss, the woman from the cafe yesterday. What is she doing here? Riley was just walking me through her proposal. Zuriel says smoothly. Care to weigh in? Nora's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Of course. Though I'm surprised you're moving forward given the complications. What complications? I keep my voice neutral, remembering Talon's words. Nora isn't just Aaliyah's mentor. She's the architect of Project Phoenix. Your sister's just the face of it. Your sister called this morning, Nora says. She's very concerned about your well-being. Thinks you might be making rash decisions while emotionally compromised. Did she mention how she compromised me? The words taste like metal. Or did that part slip her mind? Family dynamics are complicated. Nora waves dismissively. The point is, starting a competing firm now could seem vindictive. It might damage your reputation. My reputation? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to make both women flinch. My sister and fiancé destroyed my wedding, stole my family's financial information, and are currently breaking into my friend's apartment to threaten me. I think my reputation can handle a little competition. Nora's facade cracks slightly. How did you know about the financial theft? I pull out my phone, click play on the recording Talon made last week. Colin's voice fills the room, discussing account numbers and access codes with Aaliyah. The color drains from Nora's face. That's inadmissible, she says quickly, recorded without consent. Maybe in court? I agree. But the court of public opinion? They'll eat this up, especially when they learn who really orchestrated everything. Zuriel watches this exchange with growing interest. Nora, something you want to share? But Nora is already heading for the door. This meeting is over. And Riley? She turns back, mask completely gone. You have no idea what you're playing with. Back off while you still can. The same words from my wedding dress. My hands curl into fists. After she leaves, Zuriel lets out a low whistle. Well, that was illuminating. It gets worse. I show her the rest of what Talon revealed. Documents proving Nora's involvement in multiple identity theft schemes, with Aaliyah and Colin as her newest pawns. My sister thinks she's the mastermind, I say quietly. She has no idea she's being played too. And you want to warn her? No. The answer surprises me with its certainty. I want to beat them all at their own game, but I need your help. Zuriel studies me for a long moment. You understand there's no going back? Once we move forward, your relationship with Aaliyah. She killed that relationship the moment she chose this over me. My voice catches. Besides, she's not the only one who can play the long game. My phone buzzes again. Another photo from Zoe's apartment. This time it's a close-up of my wedding dress, where someone has pinned a note. Final warning, little sister. Don't make us show you how much worse this can get. I turn the phone toward Zuriel. Still think I'm moving too fast? Her smile is razor sharp. Actually, I think it's time we moved faster. 3 days. That's how long it takes to dismantle someone's life if you know where to push. Zuriel and I have been working around the clock, setting our plan in motion. My hands shake from too much coffee and too little sleep, but I can't stop now. They've taken the bait, Talon announces, striding into our makeshift war room, a converted conference space at Zuriel's firm. Nora's calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow. I study the timeline we've created on the wall. Photos, documents, connections, all leading to this moment. And Aaliyah? Still in Paris. He hesitates. But she's been making calls. Lots of them. Of course she has. By now, she's discovered her access to certain accounts has been revoked. Probably noticed the irregularities we planted in her financial records, too. Small things, but enough to make someone nervous. My phone lights up. A text from my mother. Aaliyah's hysterical. Says you're trying to ruin her. Please stop this vendetta before someone gets hurt. Vendetta. Like I'm the villain here. Riley. Zoe appears with fresh coffee. Your hands are shaking. I'm fine. You're not fine. None of this is fine. She sets the coffee down harder than necessary. You haven't slept properly in days. You're jumping at shadows. And now you're talking about exposing corporate fraud at tomorrow's meeting? That's dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. I gesture at the wall. They've already threatened us multiple times. What choice do I have? You could walk away, start fresh somewhere else, like my sister did? The words come out bitter. Run away with someone else's life? That's not what I... My phone rings. Unknown number. Everyone freezes. Speaker. Zuriel mouths from her desk. I answer. Hello? Hello, little sister. Aaliyah's voice fills the room, smooth as poison. We need to talk. My throat closes. This is the first time I've heard her voice since the wedding. About what? I manage. About how you're making a terrible mistake. She sighs like I'm a child throwing a tantrum. I know you're hurt, but this revenge campaign? It's beneath you. Beneath me? I laugh. Like sleeping with my fiancé was beneath you? That was different. Colin and I... Save it. My voice shakes. I know about Project Phoenix, about Nora, about all of it. Silence stretches. Then, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Actually, I do. I understand you're not in control like you think. That Nora's been playing you from the start. That everything you stole, the accounts, the client information, it's all part of her bigger plan. You're wrong. But there's a flicker of uncertainty in her voice. Check your private account, I say. The one you think no one knows about. See how much is left. The sharp intake of breath tells me she's looking. Seeing the zero balance we engineered this morning. What did you do? The same thing you did to me. I took everything. My hands stop shaking. But unlike you, I'm giving you a chance to fix this. Come to tomorrow's board meeting. Help me expose Nora. Or lose everything you thought you were gaining. You wouldn't dare. The sister you knew wouldn't, but you killed her at the altar. My voice hardens. The person you're dealing with now? She's someone else entirely. Talon moves closer, supportive but silent. Zoe looks torn between pride and horror. Riley, please. Aaliyah's voice cracks. You don't know what they'll do. Actually, I do, because they've been doing it to me all week. I think of my defaced wedding dress, the threats, the break-ins. The difference is I'm not backing down. They'll destroy you. No, I say quietly. They'll try. But I learned from the best, didn't I, big sister? You taught me everything about playing the long game. The line goes dead. Seconds later, my phone buzzes with a text from Nora. You were warned. What happens next is your fault. Almost immediately, Talon's phone chimes. His face goes pale reading the message. What is it? I ask. They're moving up their timeline. The board meeting, it's not tomorrow anymore. He shows me his screen. It's in 2 hours. Zuriel stands. Then we move up our timeline too. But we're not ready, Zoe protests. The documentation, the presentations. We have enough. I start gathering files. They're panicking. That means we're closer than we thought. My phone buzzes one final time. A message from Colin. You should have stayed down, Riley. Now everyone will see exactly what you're capable of. I stare at his words, feeling something shift inside me. He's right. They will see what I'm capable of. Just not in the way he thinks. 2 hours, I tell my team. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate the wrong sister. The Maxwell Court boardroom feels like a courtroom, all polished wood and weighted silence. I stand at the head of the table, facing down 12 board members, my hands steady on the presentation remote. Nora sits at the far end, her smile sharp as a blade. No sign of Aaliyah yet. As I was saying, Nora continues smoothly. Ms. Riley's accusations are clearly motivated by personal vengeance. Her recent and emotional upheaval has led to some concerning behavior. A few sympathetic nods from the board. They see exactly what Nora wants them to see. A jilted bride having a breakdown. Time to change that narrative. You're right about one thing, I say, clicking to the first slide. This is personal. The screen fills with transaction records, dozens of them, all showing systematic theft from client accounts. Next slide, emails between Nora and various shell companies. Then, recorded conversations, account transfers, the whole elaborate scheme laid bare. But my emotional state isn't the issue here. I meet each board member's eyes. The systematic fraud being committed under your watches. Nora's smile vanishes. These documents are clearly fabricated. The boardroom door opens. Aaliyah walks in, Colin right behind her. My sister looks exhausted, nothing like her triumphant wedding day photos. She won't meet my eyes. Perfect timing, I say. I was just getting to your part in all this. Riley, don't. Aaliyah's voice shakes. Please. Why not? Afraid they'll learn how you helped steal client information? Or how you and Colin were just pawns in Nora's bigger game? Colin steps forward. You're delusional. Actually, Talon says from the doorway. She's right. He moves to stand beside me, dropping a thick folder on the table. I have proof of everything, including your role, Colin. The board chairman leans forward. What exactly are we looking at? A 3-year scheme to steal client identities and assets, Zuriel says, entering with perfect timing. Using unwitting employees as cover. Isn't that right, Nora? Nora stands, mask cracking. This is absurd. You have no actual proof. Check your phone, I tell the board members. You just received an email with complete documentation, including recordings of Ms. Nora here planning my wedding day, humiliation as a distraction from her larger theft. Phones buzz around the table. Faces darken as they read. You recorded me? Aaliyah whispers. No. I finally look at my sister. You recorded yourself. Every meeting, every call. You documented everything to protect yourself from Nora. But you stored it all on the cloud account we've shared since college. The color drains from her face. Behind her, Colin starts edging toward the door. Don't bother. Talon calls after him. Security's waiting outside, along with some very interested FBI agents. Chaos erupts. Board members shouting questions, Nora demanding her lawyer, Colin making a break for it only to be caught by security. Through it all, Aaliyah stays frozen, staring at me. Why? She asks finally. Why not just turn us in? Why this whole elaborate plan? Because I needed to understand. My voice cracks. I needed to know if any part of our relationship was real, or if I was just another mark in your long game. Riley, was any of it real? The wedding dress shopping? The late-night talks? All those years of being my big sister. Was it all just practice for manipulation? Tears spill down her cheeks. Not all of it. Not at first. Ms. Riley, the chairman interrupts. These allegations are extremely serious. We'll need you to stay and make a formal statement. I nod, not taking my eyes off Aaliyah. I know exactly what to say. You'll destroy my whole life, she whispers, like you destroyed mine. I step closer. The difference is I'm giving you a choice. Tell them everything about Nora's operation, everything. And I'll tell them you helped expose it. Or don't. And I'll bury you with the truth. She looks at me for a long moment, really looks at me. Maybe for the first time in years. When did you get so strong? When you forced me to be. The boardroom doors open again. FBI agents enter, handcuffs ready. Nora starts yelling about her rights. Colin goes quietly, already bargaining. And Aaliyah straightens her spine, wipes her tears, and turns to the chairman. I'd like to make a full statement, she says clearly. About everything. I feel Talon's hand on my shoulder, steadying me. Across the room, Zuriel gives me a subtle nod. It's done. It's finally done. My phone buzzes one last time. A message from Zoe. You did it. Now come home and rest. Rest. The word feels foreign after so many sleepless nights of planning. But first, Chairman, I say, I believe I have a company to save. The visitor's room at the detention center smells like industrial cleaner and stale coffee. I sit across from Aaliyah, studying her face through the scratched plexiglass. She looks smaller without her designer clothes and perfect makeup. The prosecutor offered me a deal, she says, picking at a loose thread on her orange sleeve. In exchange for testimony against Nora. Are you going to take it? Already did. She meets my eyes. I'm done playing games. Thanks to you, I finally understand the cost. The words hang between us, heavy with everything unsaid. Outside, a guard checks his watch. 5 minutes left. I found Mom's ring, I tell her. The one Grandma gave you for your 16th birthday. It was in the wedding dress pocket, wrapped in your confession note. Her breath catches. I couldn't keep it. Not after betraying everything it represented. She nods, tears threatening. The funny thing is, I continue, finding that ring was what made me realize you weren't completely gone. The sister I grew up with was still in there somewhere, buried under Nora's influence and your own ambition. Riley, I'm not finished. I pull out a folder. The board appointed me interim CEO yesterday. My first action was to review all personnel files. Want to know what I found? She shakes her head, but I push on. Every job you've ever had, including Maxwell Corp, you got on your own merit. Nora didn't orchestrate your hiring like she told you. Your qualifications were real. Your talent was real. Why are you telling me this? Because you didn't need to steal anything. You were already enough. The guard approaches. Time's up. Wait, Aaliyah calls as I stand. The ring. What did you do with it? I touch my neck, where the ring hangs on a chain, keeping it safe. For when you remember who you really are. Outside, Talon waits by his car. You okay? No. I lean against him, letting out a shaky breath. But I will be. My phone buzzes. Zuriel with updates about the company restructuring. Then Zoe reminding me about dinner. The world keeps spinning, keeps demanding attention. The board meeting's in an hour, Talon says. Ready to officially accept the CEO position? I think about Nora's corner office, now mine. About the weight of responsibility, of other people's trust. About second chances and the price of redemption. Actually, I say, I have a different idea. The boardroom feels different today. Maybe because I'm not here to tear anything down, but to build something new. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin, I'm declining the CEO position. Murmurs of surprise. Zuriel raises an eyebrow from her seat. Instead, I'm proposing a complete restructuring. New leadership, new ethical guidelines, new everything. Starting with this. I click to my presentation. On screen, Phoenix Rising Investments, rebuilding trust through transparency. The company Nora feared we'd create? Let's actually build it. But this time, let's do it right. 2 hours later, I stand at my office window, watching the city lights blink on. My phone shows missed calls from reporters, lawyers, well-wishers, and one text from an unknown number. You could have destroyed me. Thank you for showing me another way. I touch the ring at my neck, thinking of the sister who gave it to me, of the woman she became, of the person she might be again, of second chances and the courage to take them. Talon appears in my doorway. Car's here. Zoe's threatening dire consequences if we're late for dinner again. Can't keep her waiting. I gather my things, pausing at the photo I've placed on my desk. Not of my almost wedding, but of 2 young sisters sharing a swing set, laughing at some forgotten joke. You really think you can rebuild all this? Talon asks softly. No. I take his hand. I think we can build something better. Outside, the city stretches endless with possibility. Somewhere in a detention center, my sister reads through her plea deal. In boardrooms and offices, people are already whispering about Phoenix Rising's bold new direction. And here, in this moment, I feel the last pieces of my old self fall away. They say revenge is best served cold. But redemption? That burns like sunrise, warming everything it touches. I step into the elevator, ready to rise.